I'd like to say Brydon Carse joins myself and Nasser. First things first, congratulations on your Test debut, though I will put that with a caveat. Is this the place you would have chosen to make your Test debut, given the conditions in the pitch?
Yeah, look, it's been hard work and hard toil over the last 2 days, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the challenge and being out there with this group of lads. Yeah, it's been a tough but good 2 days.
We focus on the player and how special it is for the player, but special for your family, your friends, and also the people that have helped you get here.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I've had loads of messages over the last 2 days from friends and family, and people that have supported me over the last 10 years since I've moved to England, and yeah, very much appreciated.
Tough conditions. How tough? Have you had them tougher?
Yeah, look, a couple of the guys and Stokesy said to me, when we came in after we fielded, he said to me, look, Brydon, it's not going to get as tough as this over the last 2 days. And he reassured me because, yeah, look, there were times out there when, the heat was probably the biggest challenge, and obviously the wicket. But, I think as a group of bowlers, everyone kept on coming back, and the seamers, short bursts. But yeah, it was challenging at times.
Any words of empathy, sympathy, laughing, crying emojis from Mark Wood back in England?
He sent me a message the night before the game and said good luck. So I might drop him a message tonight.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Didn't get any reverse swing as far as we could see. Was that the case, and if it was, did it surprise you?
Yeah, look, I think it did surprise me. I think, the guys working on the ball out there, we tried a lot out there over the 2 days. I don't think it was as abrasive over the square as we probably expected, but yeah, look, there was a lot of short pitch bowling and a lot of changing of fields, but hopefully in the second innings, we can get that ball reversing quite quickly.
Is that a role you're used to, banging it in, halfway down like that?
Probably not as much as I have done over the last 2 days, but it's certainly a role that I have been used, back home in county cricket at certain times. So it is a role that I, if given to, I'm going to do that role.
What's the key with that? Is it literally bang everything halfway down, or can you mix it up? It's difficult because the field then, Ollie Pope has to set people square of the wicket, so you can't suddenly bowl the magic ball, the sucker punch fuller. Do you have to keep banging it halfway down?
I think the majority of the time, yes. I think because there wasn't a lot happening out there, there were occasions when we tried to go fuller, even though the field was set for the short pitch bowling, and if we got hit down the ground, then so be it. We're trying a lot of different ideas to take wickets. As I said, hopefully in the second innings we can get that ball reverse swinging, and then we might be able to set slightly different fields and not be as predictable.
We praised all of you for the way you kept going throughout that, but just at the end, did the heat and humidity start to get to you? Because it looked like there were some tired bodies. There were fielders that didn't seem to come up at the end of the over to try and save the one. Would that be a fair assessment or not?
Yeah, probably. I had a conversation with Wokesy and Gus towards the end there, and both them boys' legs were hanging on. Yeah, proper hanging on. But we got there, and the lads will rest up tonight and hopefully have a good batting day tomorrow.
Tell us how you go about it for someone who's never bowled a ball in that heat and never been out there for 2 days like that. What is the rehab almost? Is it still ice baths? Is it check the colour of your wee when you get off the pitch and things like that? What do you have to do to make sure the next morning you wake up ready to go again?
Yeah, look, there's ice baths. We do have we're testing our hydration. I haven't been, I've been in the red most of these 2 days, even though with the continuing consumption of water and fluids. And then look, obviously tonight, the lads will refuel and get food down us and, try and get a good night's sleep and come again tomorrow.
They've made 556. Put this sort of score into context. Given the conditions that you've had, the pitch that we've had today, the fact, all right, you're 440 behind, but you're only one down, get on to Ben maybe in due course. How would you contextualise that from a normal game of cricket, if I can put it that way?
Yeah, look, I think we spoke last night, and to have them 340 for 4, I think if you had that sort of score maybe back home in England, you're probably behind the game quite a bit. And then coming into today, I think in that first session, I don't know exactly, but I think they only got 60 or 70 runs. Yep. And look, we scored 100 there tonight in 20 overs. If we can come tomorrow and bat positively and really put their attack under pressure, let's let's see where we're at by the end of the day. And then there's still obviously 2 full days of cricket to go.
Appreciate your time. Congratulations. Go rest up and
Cheers,
refuel.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
mate,
Well done.
congrats.
Cheers,
Well done.
Nas, thank you.
Well done.
How would you contextualise where the game is at stumps on day 2?
Well, apart from maybe 15 minutes either side of tea where they looked absolutely exhausted, I thought England did really well. I mean, how can you say that when the opposition get 560, there's 300s in the opposition, but you then look at how England have gone out to bat. It is a flat pitch, there's no swing, there's maybe 5 balls of swing for Nazim Shah and a couple for Shaheen Shah Afridi. No reverse swing, which on our last tour out here, it was a key for England. Stokes' captaincy was to be defensive until that reverse swing came into play, and then he'd come on, or Mark Wood would come on with the extra pace, getting it reversing. It hasn't, not a single ball has reversed yet, and no spin at all. The only thing I'd say in this part of the world, be careful for 2 reasons. One, you can have 2 first innings that are very similar. 560 plays 500, and then in your 3rd innings you don't know whether to stick or twist. And the other thing in this part of the world, the game moves very, very slowly, and then suddenly on day 5 it starts doing peculiar things off those cracks, or it starts spinning. So the key for England is to get as close as possible, and also by doing that you give the bowlers a rest, so that second time round they've got the energy levels of bowling the opposition out second time round. I don't think it's something we talk about enough with this Bazball era, and I've thought about the bowlers in this Bazball era. They get their runs so quickly, the bowlers are on, off. They're not having as much rest as they used to have in previous times. So I think it's something to keep an eye on in this heat. But for England, get as close as possible. For Pakistan, just make sure you bowl England out and then try and push on and win.
You mentioned the pace of the game over here, and that might change as the pitch bakes under the heat. Did Pakistan leave some time out there today in terms of what they were doing with the bats towards the end?
The first time was first up this morning, the decision to have the night watchman last night. Nazim Shah against the seamers plodded along, which is his role as night watchman, and then the spinner came on and he belted it. But I think just later in the day when Salman got to his 100 and then they started pushing and prodding, you could see almost that they were a little bit worried, A, about their own form, they'd lost 5 on the bounce, but also England. I'll give you an incredible stat. Under the McCullum-Stokes era, England have conceded 500 twice and won both those games. Against New Zealand at Trent Bridge, Rawalpindi, England conceded 500, got 600 in their first innings, went on to win the game. And that's one thing about this England batting lineup. Yeah, they can be blown out cheaply and everyone will say, well, what were you doing? But also they score their runs so quickly. If you have got 560, as Pakistan were today, they're just a little bit like, whoa, be careful. Suddenly England can creep up on you.
If he is not available to play in this test, or indeed it's broken, therefore has to go home, England have not brought a spare opener. They've got Cox in the middle. What do? They tried Dan Lawrence opening the batting in the UK, different conditions over here, we haven't got a Duke's ball. You got Stokes potentially to play as just a batsman. Could he open? What would you do?
I wouldn't open with Stokes personally. You could do, he's technically as sound as anyone. I think in these conditions, opening is not like it is in England. You know, we saw Dan Lawrence. I think it's more of a specialist position in England against the Duke's ball. It didn't sit comfortably with Dan Lawrence. He was a little bit all over the place. I think that is a specialist. So if it was England, I would probably call it up a specialist opener, whether that be going back a stage and going to Jennings or Lees, or, you know, Rory Burns had a fabulous summer for England. I don't think they'll do that, by the way. I think if anything, I'll do what they did tonight and move Ollie Pope up and either bring Jordan Cox in the middle order or bring Stokes into the middle order when he's fit. Because on these pitches, without any sideways movement, it is not as much a specialist position. Pope got out for a duck or whatever it was by pulling a ball and a freak catch at mid-wicket. And he may not be captain next game, so it'll just free up his mind to go and open the batting. I don't think they'll go back. All those names I mentioned is a backward step, and for this England regime, they tend not to look back, they look forward.
There was an asterisk on that squad, and that was next to the name of Ollie Stone, who's going to leave on Wednesday to go and get married. So we've sort of done the sums as to when he might be able to come back and potentially play. We probably think the third game in Rawalpindi, but as you know over here, bowlers can break down in these conditions, people can get ill. Do they need to call up another seamer? Do they need to call up another batter just in case these things happen?
What sums are you doing there, by the way, if he's going off for his wedding? What, the flight time in and out?
Well, he's
for
getting
his
married
wedding?
on Saturday, which means he's going to come back and the flight isn't going to get him in time. He's going to step straight off the plane and then go and bowl in these conditions. That ain't happening.
No, they got Potts. Potts has been having a very.
What happens if he gets sick? So you need to bring someone else into the squad. That happens over here. It's a fact of it.
It does happen. I think they'll feel very comfortable. It depends. Ben Stokes was having a bowl at tea as well. It is not the ideal situation, especially now Duckett's injured as well. I think Potts is a big, strong, healthy lad. If anyone you'd want, we've just spoken to Brydon Carse. I think that's more the issue, is whether the bowlers who have actually bowled in this game can back it up and go again. So all that stuff I was asking Brydon Carse about, how are you physically and what are the telltale signs that you could be pulling up a little bit lame in between test matches. He seems to say, I was in the red zone, but I'm doing okay. I think actually with Ollie Stone going home, the physio has to get in the minds and the bodies of the lads and the bowlers that have played in this game, because back to back in this heat, ideally, you'd want to freshen it up. Maybe Jimmy Anderson, bring back Jimmy Anderson for another farewell test. He's here now.
Thought he was working on his low cut 7-iron somewhere. Final one, do England need parity if they're going to stand a chance of
pretty close
getting something out of
that
this
third
game?
innings then becomes really tricky. Get close as you can. Beyond is a long way off yet. We don't know about Duckett, but get as close as you can. As I said, two things. Third innings becomes difficult, and suddenly the game and the pace of the game in this part of the world changes. It needs to be honest. Test cricket can't afford this pitch to be like this for 5 days. Not modern test match cricket. No wonder no one's in. If it's like that for 5 days, no one will come in.